What's going on YouTube? This is SG1 Sports and you're watching our college football channel. We continue here with our 2023 predictions. The Arkansas Razorbacks are up next. Let's take a look at some of the other predictions for Arkansas. You see the FPI has them at 6.8 and 5.2. Athlon at 7 and 5. The over-under is at 6.5. I've also seen that number at 7, so 6.5 or 7 for the over-under. So everyone's pretty much right in line at 7 and 5. I actually thought that the other predictions were going to be higher. I thought that Arkansas I thought these numbers would be closer to 8 and 4. This is a team that I feel like was better than their record last year. Had some tough losses. I still go back to that Texas A&M game. Felt like they were the better team in that game. They let it get away from them. And when we first went into the offseason, I was not high on Arkansas. I thought this team was possibly going to finish at the bottom of the SEC West. Just looking at their roster and what they had coming back, but they've done a nice job in the transfer portal. You look at the way they've developed some players. Just looking at the roster, you do have KJ Jefferson back, one of the top quarterbacks, maybe the top quarterback returning in the SEC, and they've got a loaded backfield. Running game should be really, really good. Offensive line maybe not quite as good as last year, but still should be solid. Where I'm concerned about them offensively is the wide receiver position. Yes, they brought in some transfers, but these are guys from like the FCS level and just not proven Power 5 type players. And so I'm concerned about, who does KJ Jefferson throw the ball to? That's a concern for me. Now you look at the defense, they're really deep on the defensive line. They don't have any real superstars, but they're deep on the defensive line. Linebacker position, probably not quite as good as last year. I think they're going to be improved in the secondary. That was a weakness, of course. Their pass defense has not been good, but they've added some transfers there, and I think they've actually improved a lot in the secondary as far as roster goes. So this is a team that I think is going to be pretty good. I think they're going to be a good team. Maybe not quite competing for an SEC West championship, but still, I think they're going to be good. So let's start at the top here. Western Carolina, Kent State should be easy wins. I think they roll in both of those games, and they get off to a 2-0 start. They play BYU on September 16th at home. Had no problem last year going on the road and beating BYU. I think BYU's probably not going to be quite as good as they were last year, or maybe the same. So, yeah, there's no reason to pick against Arkansas at home in this game. They should win, and I don't think it'll be super close either. So I've got the Razorbacks starting 3-0. Then they'll go on the road to face LSU September 23rd. This is going to be a really good LSU team. Obviously, I've talked about them a lot. I'm very high on the Tigers. I think that they have a chance to possibly be a playoff team this year. I think they have a chance to be that good, and they're playing at home. So I think Arkansas will fight in this game. Their run game will keep them in it for a little while. But this game is usually close. But I don't think this will be a one-score game. I think LSU will win it at home again by at least 10 points. Give me LSU over Arkansas. So that'll be their first loss. Then the next week they play Texas A&M on September 30th. This is one of the tougher games for me. I said this, I think, on the Texas A&M video. Last year I feel like Arkansas was the better team, but Texas A&M won the game. This year I think Texas A&M is probably the better team. When you look at their talent, you look at what they have coming back, this is going to be, I think, a good Texas A&M team. But the revenge factor, the psychological side of things here, I think Arkansas is going to really, really want this game. And coming off of a loss, they'll be really fired up. They'll be really focused. And because of that, I think they've got a really good shot. But at the end of the day, I just think Texas A&M is the better team, and they find a way to win. I'm going with the Aggies, but that is definitely one that I've had a hard time deciding who's going to win. Next up, they play Ole Miss on the road on October the 7th. This should be a good one. You're going to have the really good run games for both teams. I mean, this one, I said this, I think, in the Ole Miss video. You're probably going to see over 500 yards combined rushing in this game. Both teams will be able to get after it and run the football. And I think Ole Miss might be a little better in the pass game. Arkansas might have an advantage on defense. So there are definitely some areas where both teams have advantages. And at the end of the day, to me, it's just going to come down to home field advantage. I think Ole Miss will win this game because they're at home. And that's a tough one for Arkansas because that's going to drop them to 3-3. After that, they'll play on the road at Alabama. This is, I think, not going to be an Alabama team that's as good as some of the teams in the past. I've talked about that before. And maybe if you were playing in Fayetteville, Arkansas would have a chance to pull the upset here. But in Tuscaloosa, I have a hard time seeing Arkansas winning this game. Alabama still has a lot more talent. They're still going to be good, don't get me wrong. And I think they're going to be able to run the football really well this year. So this will be another game where you see both teams running the ball a lot. But Alabama's defense is always really good at stopping the run. So without a great passing attack, I think Arkansas does struggle here. And I think Alabama wins at home. All right, so that gets them to 3-4. They get Mississippi State after that on October the 21st. Should be a pretty good game here. I think people are sleeping on Mississippi State a little bit. No, I don't think they're going to win the SEC West, but I don't think they're going to be terrible. I think this is going to be a good quality team. A lot of experience, a lot of production coming back for them, including Will Rogers at quarterback, who has been really solid for them now for a couple of years. So this is going to be a good game. I think the teams are pretty even. I don't know who I would really pick if I had to say who is the better team, but I know who has home field advantage, and that's Arkansas. So I'm going to go with the Razorbacks to get a big win at home over Mississippi State. And then they'll play Florida after that, after a bye week. So that should help the Razorbacks after a tough stretch. I mean, look at that stretch. LSU, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, Alabama, and then Mississippi State. Those first 4 games, probably all against top 25 teams if I had to guess. So, yeah, that is a brutal stretch there. They get a bye week. A much-needed bye week before playing on the road at Florida. I think Arkansas is the better team here, but I think we're going to see a desperate Florida team. I've talked about it on my Florida video. I don't have them having a very good season, and I think they're really, really desperate at this point. They're playing at home. Home field advantage could be a key here. If the team hasn't given up at this point, I think they come out really fired up, really motivated in this game, and I've got Florida knocking off Arkansas, pulling off a slight upset. And then the Razorbacks then drop to 4-5. They'll play Auburn after that on November 11th. Again, you go back to last year's game in Jordan-Hare. Arkansas won that game easily. Totally different Auburn team, obviously. I mean, it's with all the transfers, it's just going to be a totally different team. And I think Auburn's strength on defense is the pass defense, but maybe not necessarily the run defense and the linebackers. And that really plays into Arkansas's hands. I think they're able to run the football in this game. They're going to be playing at home. I feel like Arkansas is going to get this one. So give me the Razorbacks over Auburn. And then after that, I think they beat FIU. And then they'll get Missouri, last game of the season, November 25th. This game seems to just be very unpredictable. It turned into, I guess, a rivalry. And you always see this game on the Friday after Thanksgiving, and I think the date is actually wrong on the schedule. When they come out with the original schedules, the game is always on Saturday, and then they move it. I don't know why they don't just put it on Friday to begin with. But anyways, they'll play that game on Friday. Arkansas, Missouri should be a good game. I think the teams are pretty even. I think people are underestimating Missouri this year as well. I think it's probably a pretty low-scoring game like it usually is, and at the end of the day, Arkansas has home field advantage. I think they're slightly better. I think the run game for the Razorbacks will be enough to get them this win. So I do have them going 7-5. And again, I actually thought that I was going to be lower on Arkansas than most people. But then when you look at those predictions I showed you at the beginning of the video, I'm actually right in line with everyone. And it's frustrating because my predictions do seem to keep winding up like right where everyone else has these teams for the most part. And that's a little frustrating because it feels like I'm just copying everyone else. But no, I do all my predictions before I ever even look at any other predictions. And it's just the way it goes. So I guess everyone kind of has the same thoughts in the preseason for the most part. Again, there are those teams that I'm a little higher on or lower on. But I've got the Arkansas Razorbacks at 7-5. Would love to know what you think about this team. Give me your predictions for Arkansas down in the comments below.